Hey, what's up, guys? This is Will with Flores Lawn Service LLC out here in Spring, Texas. I hope everybody's having a good day today. So, title of this video is how to price lawn service. So, guys, this is one of those questions that I used to ask a lot myself, and the answer honestly does suck, and I hate giving this answer, but it all depends, and it all depends on you. It depends on your personal situations. For example, if you're a solo operator and you have a truck with a push mower and you do all your work from the bed of your truck, and you have no employees and you have no overhang and you have no trailer and you have no backup equipment and you have no budget for marketing, if a person like this can get away with charging less compared to a person who's got a established company that has 2 or 3 or a dozen employees, has several trailers, has they have to pay workers' comp, they have insurance they need to take care of, they have 2 or 3 trailers, they have backup equipment, they have all these things going on. So this is not a size fits all answer that I can give you guys. Again, it all depends on your personal situation. It also depends on where you live, right? I have no idea what I would charge up in, let's say, New York or somewhere up north, right? I have no idea what the market looks like over there. So you just have to do your research. You have to look at your location, see what other people are charging. Obviously you got to be competitive. If most people are charging $40-50, you can't come and charge 80 because you probably won't get any clients. Also, you can't be undervaluing or underpricing your work, right? So you have to kind of be right in the middle, very competitive pricing. So what I would do is I would take into consideration all those things that I just mentioned, right? I take into consideration, right, my taxes, my equipment, my gas, everything that you need in order to run a successful business. You got to take all of that into account. Also, there's another thing that I like to call unforeseen costs, which are costs that you have but don't necessarily see it instantly. For example, right, if you're, let's say you have 100 clients, you're racking about, let's say, 20,000 miles on your truck. That truck might only last you 5 or 10 years because you're putting so much mileage into it, right? So at the moment, we don't see that. We don't see that. Maybe you have to get tires twice as often. Maybe you have to change the oil twice as often. Maybe you have to do extra maintenance on your machines because you're using them so much. So you got to also take into consideration those types of costs, again, that you don't necessarily see at the moment, but then down the road you're like, holy smoke, okay, now I've got $800 I got to spend on tires. Now I've got to do all this maintenance on my truck, right? So you got to take all that into account. You got to take into account your location. And for me, the way I do it, I'm sorry, so you got to take all that into account. Let me just back up real quick. And then you have to pick a number that you're comfortable with charging, right? So for example, if you're just starting off, you're just push mowing, maybe you're not legit, you don't have your company established, you're kind of just doing this on the side, you can't go and maybe charge what somebody who's doing this for 10 years is charging, or somebody who has commercial and professional equipment. Obviously you can, but it'll be extremely hard for people to see the value and what you're charging. All right, so for me, when I started, my hourly rate was $60, right, $1 per minute. That's when, again, I was working out of my truck. I had a push mower. Honestly, the truck wasn't even mine. It was my father-in-law's, and his equipment. The equipment was his as well. So I started at $60 an hour. Obviously, I accounted for my gas. I accounted for just my gas, I guess, at that time. Now, I've got a little bit more experience. My quality is a bit better. My professionalism is a bit better. I have a trailer now. I have multiple commercial machines. I have extra weed whackers, extra equipment, right? I've got to take all that into consideration. So now I can't go and charge the $60 that I was charging. So now my hourly rate is from 80 to 90, right? So minimum 80. If I could be between 80 to 90, that's perfect. That's solid. If I could do anything over 90, even better, right? So what you want to do is you want to go out there. You want to take that number that you came up with after doing all your research. Then you want to go out there and see how much. You basically got to estimate how long a house is going to take you. And you only do this by going out there and doing it repetitively, right? So it's one of those things where first times you're not going to get 100%. I still don't get them all right. But it's something that, you just have to repeat and repeat and repeat, right? So after you do this for a couple years, you can go and say, hey, well, just by looking at it, this is going to take me 30 minutes, so I'm going to charge you $45. So that's what I do. If a house takes me 30 minutes, that's $40, right? Because in an hour I'm going to make $80. I have to be at least 80. So if I go to a house and I estimate that it takes me 30 minutes and I charge them 40, but in reality it took me 35, then what I do is I say, hey, you know what? I've serviced your property a couple times now. Unfortunately, I am not at my hourly rate that I have to be in order to run a legitimate and profitable business. Therefore, what I'm going to have to do is slightly increase the price of your service. And so the difference shouldn't be much, especially after you get quite a bit of practice. You should kind of have a good ballpark estimate. And so the price increase should only be about $5. But you do have to be careful with this because there's clients that will drop you over $5. And so you have to kind of just see, is it worth it or is it not? Is it worth me losing this potential client for the whole year off of $5? So for me, 90% of the time is yes. If I'm not hitting that hourly rate and they have a problem with me raising their price, I just keep it rolling. I have too many bills that need to be paid. I value my time, and so if I'm not making those $80 and they have a problem with it, I'm dropping them. Easy as that. So yeah, guys, you just have to get out there, just do it constantly over and over and over again. There's times where you're gonna hate yourself because you're like, man, this was a $50 lawn and I charged them $40, and now you're mad, right? Because you're losing money. But hey, you learn from it. I'd do the service and maybe do another one just because you agreed on it, and then after that I'd go ahead and give them the price increase. Another thing on top of that would be, guys, always have a minimum for any service you do. So I try to never go under $40, no matter the size of the house, no matter how fast I can do it. 40 is my minimum. There's about 2 houses that I've made an exception to that, which I've got them at 30 or 35, and that's because they're extremely tiny houses where I'm in and out in 15 minutes, and also they're very, very close to multiple properties that I have as in next door neighbors. And so regardless, I try to keep that minimum. If you can charge $40 for a 15-minute job, right, you're making good money. So that's it, guys. Just make sure you go out there. That's all I can really say. Go out there, just repeat. The more practice you get, the easier it's going to be, the more accurate you're going to get. Don't get frustrated if you make a mistake and you undercharge. Hey, you'll learn from it. Just communicate with your clients. Let them know, hey, I messed up. Your price is going to be this and this. And then pick something that you're comfortable with charging. Look at the competition around you and price yourself accordingly. And that's it, guys. That's all I have today. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Peace.